wanted to say thank you to Tino and his staff and Robert Hendrickson for putting together a tremendous event. And I'm really impressed at how quiet and patient everybody is and how engaged. I'm surprised. No phones, not a lot of activity, no one going to the restroom. Not inviting you to do so now, but Phil, I think I'm the second oldest guy in here, so you'll have to excuse me. It's been a long time in this industry, since 1984, actually. But not here to talk about that. Cbeyond's origins began in Tampa. I was living there, working at a company called Intermediate Communications, and we had another subsidiary, wholly owned, at the time, I guess, wholly owned, and we carved it out and took it IPO. It was called Digex. It was a complex web hosting company in Virginia, in the Maryland, Virginia area. And it really informed us about what large entities and governmental agencies were doing with internet technologies. And so we founded Cbeyond with a fairly, I guess I would say, crazy notion of building a competitive communications company using internet protocol. In Tampa, we had no customers, we had very little capital, we had no revenue, we had basically a great idea and a really awesome PowerPoint. I know many of you in the room can relate to that. That was 10 years ago, and we knew that we couldn't realize our vision there, and we moved to Georgia to build Cbeyond. And Georgia is now host to over 1,000 of our 2,000 nationwide employees. And as a service provider, we host more than 30 solutions now, 30 different applications that we deliver to our roughly 60,000 customers across the nation. And a particular point of pride to me is that 1 in 7 small businesses in Atlanta Metro are customers of Cbeyond. What are the other 6 doing? We do have people here that you can talk to. We have a Cbeyond table. So we expect just under $500 million in revenue this year, and all but 12 million of that is organically grown. And we've spent about $450 million in capital since we've been here in 2000, since then. And I would add that we're somewhat old school. I'm a recovering accountant. I started my career at Price Waterhouse. Some people also refer to it as a has-been counter. But we have managed to accomplish what we have without accumulating $1 of debt on our balance sheet. So we've done it all through equity and or cash generated by our business. So we're very happy about that, and we're really proud to be part of Georgia. Like Phil, we've struggled. We've had a lot of offers through the years, and actually worked with Tino to get the state of Georgia to help us justify continuing to grow here. And the state has been very, Tino especially has been very helpful, Metro Chamber very helpful, and the state as well. But it hasn't always been a particularly welcoming environment. I just want to tell you one little story. Picture this, it's 2000, the spring of 2000, and I've just moved here on a transitional basis, and I'm living at the Ritz-Carlton. And they used to have these wonderful events at the Ritz-Carlton. I don't remember the frequency. If John Yates were here, he would know, because of course I've met him there that first time, and then 8,000 other times at every single event I've ever been to. John Yates must be the hardest working man in this industry. But it's the spring of 2000. The NASDAQ hasn't yet peaked. You've got a room full of people in this ecosystem of people that are venture capitalists and lawyers and CEOs and technologists, and everything is possible still, right? And so I meet a woman, and she said, "So Cbeyond, kind of a funny name." "Oh, thanks, appreciate it. What do you do?" I said, "Well, here's what we intend to do. We intend to host applications for small businesses on an internet protocol network. We want to control the bandwidth so we can control the quality of service. The first and killer app in that internet network that we're going to host is local phone service and long-distance phone service. And then we're going to add more productivity-enhancing applications as those very expensive voice bits, lose their value over time. And she looked me square in the eye, turned 180 around, and said, "Cuckoo!" And I got my vindication later. Her name was Gina. I think it was Gina Wright. She was the publisher of Catalyst magazine, if you recall that, a very popular and influential magazine. And she had to eat crow about 3 or 4 years later as she awarded Cbeyond the Catalyst of the Year award. So, love that Southern hospitality. Back to the program. So why Georgia? Well, this great state was vital in incubating and then helping us build our business. In addition to the great climate and beautiful scenery here, I really do think it's a lovely place. I've lived in a number of different places, and I guess this is referred to as the corporate graveyard. People come here and then leave the company that sent them here and stay. So, but we've been able to stand on the shoulders of some real iconic brands and giants in our industry. They got their start here, and many still call their Georgia their home. My map isn't quite as nice as Tino's. We tried to do this from the companies that were relevant in our world, and I missed a lot of them, and they're all lined up out there. And so don't refer to my map as much. But the growth and the stability of the local technology industry, as supported by the educational and business organizations, has attracted and sustained incredible talent to Georgia from all over the world, which has prospered us all, and certainly Cbeyond. You see here some of the old and new innovation represented in Atlanta, and we're proud and humbled to be part of such an incredible group. There are, of course, a group of professionals. I would put Metro Chamber, Georgia Tech Enterprise Innovation Institute, the ATDC, and of course the Technology Association of Georgia in that ecosystem. And I think that those things all combine to continue to make certain that the metro area will be the tech center of the Southeast. So the recent economy has forced us all to do more with less, and new technologies have thrust us into an era of increased efficiency, not seen since the late 19th century Industrial Revolution. So what is compelling this higher productivity today? Well, as is usual, necessity. Corporations need to boost efficiency to meet their goals and to compete. A reality of recessions and difficult business cycles is the necessary pruning of unhealthy companies and inefficient business practices. But how exactly are companies finding ways to do more with less this time around? What is leading to such a surge in productivity? And of one catalyst I am certain: we are presently undergoing a major shift in the accessibility of technology and systems that make businesses more efficient. And I think there's been a tremendous consistency. None of us saw each other's presentations, but I think there's a tremendous consistency. Well, I didn't see anyone else's. Maybe they cheated off mine. But call it an efficiency explosion. Even as we grapple with terms such as software as a service, infrastructure as a service, or the new buzzword cloud to describe a new generation of powerful business solutions that combine software, on-demand computing, and communications, the baseline of business productivity continues to advance at a relentless rate. In my estimation, there are 4 underlying technology pillars to this new pace of change. First, broadband. Faster fixed network access and mobile data services are changing the way we work. Where do you go today that you're not connected? I was in the Bahamas, and they didn't have a cable or satellite TV, and my favorite soccer team was playing. I signed up for them online and had it streamed to my iPad, sitting on the beach in the Bahamas, because I didn't want to miss a game, I mean, it's crazy. Faster fixed broadband speeds, both wired and mobile, are enabling new industries like storage as a service, video streaming, cloud computing, and medical image transmittal. Ubiquitous high-speed mobile data has spawned the Kindle, GPS systems with integrated traffic alerts, fleet management systems, roaming, checkout in stores, and yes, of course, the iPhone and the iPad. Indeed, we are only seeing the early stages of advancement possible as broadband increases in speed and accessibility. And I would say the recent moves by AT&T to acquire more spectrum and scale would underscore that point. I think the second factor is web technology. If you haven't noticed lately, the quality of your web experience is increasing at an amazing rate. We routinely use web applications today with the speed and usability that exceeds the possible on locally run applications only a few years ago. The quality of applications accessible in our web browser has led to some amazing new companies: Amazon, E-Trade, Salesforce.com, Constant Contact, and now even online versions of traditionally local applications like QuickBooks and even Microsoft Office. I think the third factor is virtualization. It's an exciting area of technology that provides for shared use of physical resources such as servers, storage, and even network resources in a manner that preserves the functionality and security of a private or dedicated environment. The result is server virtualization, cloud computing, storage on demand, and previously single-tenant applications being delivered as shared or multi-tenant services. Businesses driving for increasing levels of efficiency can now access information infrastructure for lower costs, less upfront capital, and without specialized dedicated resources. Amazon EC3 and Windows Azure are good examples of commercial offers built on this foundation. The fourth factor is social. Social networks and social media are transforming the way we communicate, the way we understand the world, and yes, the way we socialize. By today's standards, think back just 10 years ago. It seems so much slower and predictable and serial, and now information comes at us in thousands of parallel streams, in SMS snippets, posts on our Facebook wall, blogs, YouTube, delivered on your PC, mobile devices, 24/7, every day of the year. The rapid and brief interactions of social networks and our evolving skills at processing them are driving new levels of business productivity and work practices. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting pretty good at driving while texting. So together, I drive a white SUV, so watch out. So together, broadband, new web technologies, virtualization, and social networks are combining into a powerful transformative force. So how's it all netting out? Well, non-farm business sector labor productivity increased at a 2.6% annual rate during the fourth quarter of 2010 alone. And annual average productivity increased 3.9% from 2009 to 2010. And if you look at the last 15 years, output per hour of all persons working has steadily increased. In a room like ours this morning, packed with technologists and leaders from large established companies with deep technology staffs, many of the concepts are not new, the impacts at least observed, if not understood and leveraged in your own business. But to many businesses, the potential of these advances is yet untapped. At Cbeyond, our passion is the small business, the entrepreneurial class as we call them. And our goal is to leverage these innovations that happen at these big guys and make their gains possible for the small business sector. In a recent national survey of small business commissioned by us, we found that fewer than 10% of small businesses have adopted a cloud service. Most use basic email instead of a rich collaborative platform like Microsoft Exchange, and the vast majority lack baseline capabilities in security and social media marketing. This is what we attempt to address every day at Cbeyond. We think the areas that matter, the ones that make small businesses more profitable, productive, and secure, can be summed up in 4 key areas: to communicate, to collaborate, to protect, and to grow. Our customers demand reliable, high-speed, fixed and mobile broadband and voice services. Collaborate, small businesses are forced to be in a connected world, and companies like us make it possible for them with managed services like hosted Microsoft Exchange, remote user VPN, and cloud server solutions. Protect. It's a fact. All of us are vulnerable to security threats. For example, at Cbeyond, our business is hit with over 200,000, I think last month it was 280,000 originated threats each month. So Actually, our customers' email, and I'm going to check with the crowd here. I've got a couple of folks here, but I think we stop in the 90s percentage of email that is originating toward our customers. So in other words, less than 10% of email traffic on the internet is actually good and destined from a legitimate person to a legitimate customer. So it's crazy the volume that's created by these security threats. We're going to help these customers manage these threats because they need to. They need to protect their assets. They need to limit their liability, and they need to guard their productivity. And finally, grow. We find that small businesses are fighting to understand the viral and local, I think underscore local, impact of social media. There's a revolution in how businesses and their customers and prospects are beginning to interact with each other. Your business simply must be part of this conversation. Bridging these trends and their revenue impacts on small business will be an increasing focus for us. So in closing, there's one other thing I'm also certain of. No matter the wizardry of the technology we create and deploy to our customers, we can't lose sight of the requirement to deliver all of these experiences with excellence and intimacy, because I don't think technology has changed our fundamental nature. So I want to thank you.